The Galactic Empire had spread its banners across 1,000 systems, its fleets choking the void like a steel storm, its soldiers stamping out defiance wherever they found it. Yet even empires fear the shadows they cannot control, and among those shadows was a name that was never spoken lightly, a name the admirals and generals whisper with tightened jaws, a name etched into war councils as a warning rather than a command. The name of the Baba Yaga, the human ghost who did not fight for armies or crowns, but for something older, colder, and more relentless, for vengeance that burned like a frozen flame. And when the Council of the War-Born Confederacy demanded to know why the Empire forbade them from engaging this one man, the Imperial envoy simply said, "Do not attack the Baba Yaga. He will never let you flee." But arrogance is the mask of doomed powers, and the Confederacy laughed, boasting of fleets with 1,000,000 guns and legions bred for slaughter. And so they broke the taboo, and in breaking it, they wrote their own death sentence. It began on a forgotten outpost at the edge of the spiral arm where human colonies once stood before the Empire swept through like a wildfire, burning cities, enslaving survivors, leaving only ashes, and in those ashes, one man remained, his name erased from records, his uniform discarded, his family buried beneath glass soil, until only the legend remained: Baba Yaga, the death spirit, the hunter who made war not with armies but with inevitability. And the Confederacy thought such tales were the product of frightened soldiers, not realizing too late that some legends are carved from blood and iron. They attacked his world with scouting fleet, thinking to bait him, but the first destroyer vanished into silent wreckage within an hour of entering orbit, hull breached with surgical precision, escape pods shredded before they could launch, black smoke curling into void as if pulled by unseen hands. And when the second ship moved to investigate, it found only the words scrawled across its main viewport in scorched metal: "I see you." Panic gnawed at discipline, but the Confederacy commanders, proud and unbending, pushed forward, sending more ships, more soldiers, telling themselves this was a ghost story dressed in human defiance. Yet each squad that touched ground disappeared, their screams cut short over comms, their signals blinking out one by one until the forest swallowed them whole. And when one survivor stumbled back to the landing zone, he had no eyes left, his throat torn out, but carved into his chest with something sharper than a blade with words: "Run is not allowed." They should have left then, but arrogance is a poison deeper than fear, and they doubled down, unleashing fire from orbit, burning forests, vaporizing rivers, thinking brute force could erase shadows. But when the smoke cleared, the scanners showed a single life form moving steadily through the ruin, unharmed, unstoppable, walking straight toward their stronghold. And it was then they began to understand what the Empire meant. The Baba Yaga did not rush, did not strike wildly. He advanced with the patience of a predator that knows the prey cannot escape. And every trap they set turned against them, every ambush reversed, every soldier lost without a sound until the entire outpost trembled with paranoia, men firing at shadows, officers shouting into silence, ships refusing to dock, and above it all, the name they had mocked now whispered with trembling lips. The first general fell not on the battlefield, but in his command chamber, throat slit though the room was sealed and guarded, his blood used to draw a symbol across the hollow map, a skull with wings. The second was dragged screaming from his shuttle before the crew's eyes, his body hurled into the void, eyes wide in frozen terror. The third tried to defect, sending desperate pleas for mercy, but his own soldiers found him hanging in the barracks, his skin pale, his tongue blackened, and no door showed signs of breach. It was not war. It was annihilation of spirit, a breaking of will, and the survivors began to whisper among themselves what the Empire had warned. You cannot flee the Baba Yaga, for the run is to be hunted, and the hunt never ends. Days stretched into weeks, and the Confederacy's mighty fleet became a flotilla of haunted wrecks, men refusing to sleep, ships drifting in formation with guns pointed inward as much as outward, until one night, if night could be measured in the endless dark, the hunter showed himself, a lone man walking across the docking ring of the flagship, helmetless, no suit, yet alive, eyes like cold fire, and though they fired everything they had, plasma bolts, rail slugs, ion storms, he did not fall. He moved through it all as if death itself bowed before him. And when he reached the ship's airlock, the screams began, screams that never ended. When the Empire arrived weeks later, they found the fleet derelict, corpses hanging in zero gravity, messages scratched into bulkheads by trembling hands. He will not let us go. The shadow hunts, and we should have listened. Not a single Confederacy soldier survived, not one vessel functional. Only the silence of those who thought they could outrun inevitability. The Empire took no joy in the slaughter, for they had long ago learned the cost of waking the Baba Yaga, and so their envoy stood before the trembling remnants of the Confederacy's leadership, his voice quiet, steady, unyielding. You were warned. You mocked the warning. Now you understand. But still they asked, their arrogance pierced at last by fear. What is he? A man? A weapon? A curse? And the envoy only shook his head and spoke the truth no one wanted to hear. He is human, and that is enough. The legend of the Baba Yaga spread further then, no longer whispered in barracks, but etched into the laws of war, a warning etched in the marrow of every fleet and every soldier. Do not strike at him. Do not draw his attention. For once the hunt begins, there is no surrender, no escape, no mercy, only the slow certainty that he will find you, wherever you hide, however far you run. And when he does, you will not die quickly, but with the weight of inevitability pressing down upon your last breath. And somewhere in the cold corners of the void where no banners fly and no laws reach, the Baba Yaga still walks, not for empire, not for crown, but for his own war, his own ghosts, hunting those foolish enough to believe they can defy him. And in the silence between stars, the Confederacy's final lesson hangs like a funeral bell. When the Empire warns you a human monster, believe them, for humans have a way of birthing monsters that even empires fear.